With the 5th full Valorant season well underway, new teams and superstars are carving out electric stories that solidified the game's status as a must-watch esport. But before diving into Split 1, let's revisit the legendary squad that shaped the game's early days and catapulted an org into the spotlight. Today, we are rewinding to the 2021 Sentinels roster, tracing where each team landed as their paths diverged in wildly different directions. The Sentinels' historic Masters Reykjavik run, which crowned them world champions and turned TenZ into a household name, has been dissected endlessly, including my own TenZ deep dive. Instead of retreading that ground, we'll start at the end of their 2021 campaign, the beginning of the original Sentinels era's collapse. After dominating Reykjavik and placing top 8 in Berlin, their champions' run stunned fans with a group stage exit at the hands of the perennial underdogs Crew eSports.
Now it's all on you, buddy. Surrounded on all fronts. It's over! It's done with! Crew against all of our expectations, against all odds, sends Sentinels home!
I am absolutely speechless right now. Their first international scalp to claim is none other than Sentinels.
Despite closing the season in a slump, hype still surrounded Sentinels heading into 2022, but their decline would be quick. A shifting meta prioritizing team-focused retakes over individual plays and isolating duels left Sentinels scrambling to adapt. Meanwhile, Chamber's rising pick rate clashed with Jett's relentless nerfs, undermining TenZ's signature agent. Early 2022 showed flashes of hope. They breezed past weaker teams like NRG, Knights, and Rise, and pushed Optic Gaming to a tense map 3. But cracks erupted against version 1, where TenZ's Jett struggles laid bare the meta's unsustainability for this playstyle. Ignoring the warning signs though, Sentinels stubbornly stuck to their formula into playoffs, only to be dismantled by the Guard in a brutal sweep, where they were only able to pick up 7 rounds total.
Sentinels in the opening round of this playoff tournament, and as quickly as it started, it ended.
Their downfall culminated in an elimination from Masters Reykjavik contention at the hands of version 1, dashing their hope of defending their title.
This could be the finale. Dapper left alone, and it cannot be done. It's version 1 who are going to be knocking out the former Reykjavik champions.
Unbeknownst to fans, Sentinels' loss here marked the final appearance of this championship roster. The first domino fell just a week before Stage 2 Open qualifiers, as Prime Smoke's player Zoms was replaced by Kempeki. This forced Sick, a duelist specialist, to awkwardly fill his role. For Zom, inactive since April 2022, would have a brief resurgence with Untamed Beasts, a meme team featuring NA veterans aiming to make the last chance qualifiers. Though unsuccessful, it proved Zom could play in Tier 2. However, his Twitter flexes of luxury watches and private sales ventures suggest his retirement is permanent. Today, he streams sporadically, far removed from pro ambitions.
Beautiful. Roll one tap as well. Remember that.
I attacked somehow, but I remember my...
Whoa, is it the ace? Is it the ace?
Nice.
But without Zom, they would cruise through Stage 2 qualifiers, but yet again crumble in challengers, accumulating in a must-win match where both TenZ, due to illness, and Sick, because of a family emergency, would be absent. This exposed instability in the core trio of TenZ, Shazam, and Sick for the first time, because Sick never returned to the starting roster after this, remaining inactive to this day. While respecting his privacy and personal conflicts with the team, it's clear his departure fractured team chemistry further as the roster continued to go downhill. Forced to field their coach Ruckus as a stand-in, Sentinels finished with the league's worst record. A desperate LCQ gamble saw FPX legend Stroud join for clout, a move that didn't really work out, as well as a brief appearance of Celsius, hinting at future potential. More on him later though. But these changes would cause their 2022 to end with a whimper. The roster needed a full rebuild. And October 2022 sealed the roster's fate. Shazam was released days after Dapper declined a substitute role, both joining G2 eSports. There, they would dominate Split 1 the following year, and nearly win the mid-season face-off, but Split 2 collapsed, winless until a playoff exit by the Guard left them to 5th to 6th.
The Bulldog gets the headshot, but doesn't get the kill!
For Shazam, this was his last stand. He retired to stream, remaining a respected FPS figure to this day. Dapper's journey continued to Oxygen eSports, where consistency earned them an Ascension favorites status. Yet playoffs revealed cracks. A blowout loss to M80, and a shocking defeat by Dark Horse TSM exposed Dapper as the weak link. With no Tier 1 offers, he pivoted to coaching Sentinels' academy team, mentoring rising stars like Redux. His strategic mind and superior game sense that made him so deadly on the lurk now shapes future talent for the org. So of course with Shazam and Dapper leaving the team by the end of the 2022 season, that would leave TenZ as the sole survivor of that first legendary team. I already went over most of the rest of his career in my Prime TenZ video last year, but I'll just quickly recap for those who want a reminder or have been living under a rock. In the inaugural season in 2023, the team was revamped around him, as they'd bring in two great cores in the Brazilian champions Pancada and Saucy, as well as the X-Set core that made waves in Sentinels' place last year, with the minds of Def and Psycho at the helm, with the young rising star Zekin. There were a lot of hope that they would turn things around from that tragic year. But while they would improve from the year before, they still underperformed, as Def and Psycho would drop pretty early in the run. They struggled against the likes of Cloud9 and Lev, and they would fail to make the playoffs of the regional league, resulting in this once legendary team to miss out on back-to-back years of international events. So of course, 2024 was a make or break moment for the last remnant of the previous golden age, as TenZ was already thinking of hanging things up after yet another disappointing season, but would give the pro scene one last try. His and his team's legacy relied on how they performed this season. And over the offseason, Sentinels yet again made some changes, but this time they'd work instantly. As with a new IGL and John QT from the powerful M80 roster, and 6-man Celsius, who at the time just looked like a content pickup, would prove during the off-season tournaments that they together are true gamers, and Celsius is worth a starting spot, as in Pancada's absence, they would win the Africa TV League as well as their own tournament. So instead of messing with success, they would let this roster rip into the kickoff event. While we know now that off-season hot streaks don't really mean early success as we saw with NRG this year, Sentinels were able to do just that, as everything just worked, as after losing to Loud in the opening round, they didn't lose an important match again, as they'd make it into the play-ins, where they'd scrape it into a playoff match against NRG, who were definitely the favorites, until they were humiliated on map 3 on Split.
And that's all it'll be! It's been years that fans have had a reason to celebrate, but tonight, Sen City burns red! Welcome to Madrid!
To send NRG into a downward spiral and land Sentinels into a grand finals that would see them lift a trophy so early, but more importantly, become a top seed going into the first international since 2021.
Look at them. Sentinels crowned here, the victors of America's.
I'm gonna eventually make a video about their run in Masters Madrid that would see TenZ lift his second international trophy and cement him as a true legend of the game. So I'm not really gonna touch on it too much here, but I do want to say that after this, the rest of their season went somewhat similar to how they did in 2021 after their Reykjavik win, as they'd first underperform in the regional league, then almost get eliminated right away in champions. Luckily, they were able to right the course a bit to give TenZ a proper send-off, as they'd end up finishing a very respectable 4th place. With that, TenZ would announce his retirement from competitive gaming and go to full-time streaming like other members of the OG Sentinels roster, with now the first legendary team officially no longer active as players in the pro scene just 4 years later. That just shows how quick esports careers move. Check out my video all about FPS history on this channel me and Zeph have been working on called Hidden Levels. So check that out when you can, because we put a lot of work into those videos and are truly passionate about documenting video game history.